When you or your spouse is a high performing and high profile athlete, it could be you, it could be your spouse, it could be both of you. One of the challenges is that you can begin to compete with one another for attention. It's a very common scenario where one person who is high profile, they're in the media all the time, they're getting a lot of recognition for the work that they do, gets all the attention, while the other spouse, most often in my experience, the wife, is not getting nearly as much attention. Oftentimes she's home with the children by herself, especially during the heat of the season, and she can feel lost. She can feel like, what about me? And so there can be this sort of competitive drive between the two of you. And oftentimes one is accused of being very selfish and likes to grandstand or always needs attention. And the other one can start to feel like, why are you jealous of me? Why can't you just be grateful and excited for me and for all of my accomplishments? And I want to talk about this today because all of a sudden you can find yourselves drifting away from one another, not enjoying each other's company, tension rising in your home. By the way, this happens not only during the competition season, but it can continue in the off season. So the question is, what do you do? A better question is, how can we fix this? And it is absolutely possible to turn this dynamic around. The truth is, both of you need the same things. You're going to see this in a moment. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the things that you need, but it's true that both of you need the same things. And it's not that one deserves more attention than the other, though oftentimes it is true that one is getting more attention than the other. But if you want to fix this in your home, you want to strengthen your relationship, your marriage, your partnership, you want to focus on 4 key ideas. And I'm telling you, they will change the game. Because the more you receive this from each other, well, the better your relationship gets. So let's talk a little bit about why this is such a key issue. And one, as I mentioned earlier, is because everybody needs attention. Everybody absolutely needs attention. Everyone needs to feel supported in their relationship. And so I've been working with professional athletes. I've been around the world of professional sports and top tier collegiate sports for more than 30 years, working as a chaplain in the NFL for 14 years, working with most of my clients are in professional sports. And so I've been in this world and I've seen this dynamic. I've had the privilege of winning 2 Super Bowls and spending a lot of time with very competitive, excellent, gifted athletes and their spouses. And it's, how would I say this? This saga goes on. It's been every year in my work with couples. So social media is starting to really sort of ramp this up, where the other spouse, if you will, who's not competing athletically, can feel left out, and oftentimes may be looking for that attention in the world or the realm of social media. So let's talk about what is needed. What are these gifts, these 4 gifts that you can give to your spouse so that both of you are cared for? And I'm telling you, when you start to give these 4 things, neither of you is going to reject it, refuse it, say, I don't want it. It's going to change the game. And the truth is, the reason is because you've always needed these things. You've always needed these 4 things, and you will always need these 4 things as long as you're human. We used to count on our parents or our caretakers, as some people say, to deliver these 4 things for us. But once you get married, I'm just telling you, the need doesn't go away. If you do these things in your marriage life and in your journey together, even with your kids, they're going to change the game. All right, so let me give you the first one. The first one is that everyone needs to feel seen. If you give your spouse the gift of feeling seen, you're going to absolutely change the game. Everybody needs to feel seen. And we're not just talking about seen physically, because oftentimes when I'm working with couples, my guys will say, Well, I told her she was beautiful. I told her the outfit was nice, and that's cool, that's helpful, but that's not really the essence of being seen. People feel seen when you can see into them. In other words, when you can see the invisible parts of their being, right? You can track with their ideas, you can track with their fears, you can track with what they're trying to convey emotionally. When you stay long enough to see them, you make them feel seen. And it kind of goes like this, like, you feel me, right? You feel me. They'll say, you feel me. And this goes both ways. Both people need to feel seen. So a couple nights ago, my wife and I were sitting on the sofa and we were talking, and she just started sharing about this party she's preparing for, this garden party. She loves to do these garden parties, and they become very elaborately planned and great details because the beauty really matters to her. And after almost 34 years of marriage, I have learned to just track, to just vibe. Now, I didn't always get this, but I just sat there, and she said, "You really feeling me, aren't you?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm tracking. I have learned to just tune in and to listen, to make Sherry feel seen." And I'm telling you, if you can deliver this in your marriage, your closest relationship, make the other person feel seen, you give them a sense that relationships actually work, because they may have grown up learning that they don't work. So the first thing is to make them feel seen. Give your spouse a gift of feeling seen. All right, before I go to the second point, I was working with a client who's been a long time client. And one of the things they revealed to me was, I grew up never feeling seen at home. And when I got married, my very quiet, low-key spouse act like they didn't see me at home. And let me tell you, the distress that caused in that particular person who didn't feel seen, and the stress that it caused in their marriage has been significant. So how do you fix this distress? You not only make them feel seen, but you make them feel soothed when they are in distress. Another word for soothe is you calm them. You calm them when the storms rage inside their being, when the storms rage from fear, when the storms rage from the chaos of life, the chaos of a very hectic career, a hectic season, the demands that outsiders put on both of you. If you can calm the storm, if you can soothe, you can actually do something very powerful in a person's life. Is you help them learn that they can regulate that anxiety, they can regulate the fear that's taken them over, because you started soothing them. I was working with a client couple recently, and I was sharing with them about the soothing aspect of their relationship, because one was going through a very difficult battle with some painful news. And so I asked the husband, "Do you know how to soothe your wife?" He says, I don't know. I said, "Well, why don't you ask her? What would help her feel soothed?" And so sure enough, he asked her, and he said, "Well, where do I begin?" And so I took him through this exercise where he could help begin to soothe her. And what he learned was that he himself had never experienced being soothed, which means that he was very low in terms of being able to deliver empathy to his wife when she's in distress, when she is really going through a difficult time. And so if you can learn how to soothe one another, give each other the gift of soothing, because everybody's going through something difficult, whether it's an injury, whether it's the fear of getting cut, whether it is the transition and the lostness that comes with transitioning from one team to another, from being active in your career as an athlete or not being active because you may be transitioning out of the game. Soothing can play a powerful, powerful part in your relationship with one another. So you want to make the other person feel seen, make them feel soothed. You want to make them feel safe. You notice all the S's, we're working with the S's, right? The safety has to do with you being a source of not only calm, but protection, where they know that if harm comes their way, you're going to be there to offer protection. Isn't that what we needed when we were children? Like we needed caretakers, parents who calmed and who protected. Well, that same thing is true in your adult life, especially in this career where people are coming at you and the media is trying to get insight and get news and people say critical things about you. And not that you want to always be in a battle there, but you need to feel protected at home. Now, this protection is not only about guarding against harm, but it's also not being a source of chaos at home. So that if your spouse finds you unpredictable when you're home, when you're emotionally unpredictable or you're emotionally absent, they can begin to feel like it's not a safe environment with you. If you're rage, if you've got anger, if you're explosive, you may not be abusive. You may not be a person who hits and all those sorts of things. And I pray you're not, but you can still make your spouse feel like you're not a safe space, that if they can't get their words out, if you always cut them off, if you never fully listen to what they're trying to communicate, they can begin to feel unsafe. And especially if you denigrate them, if you are, how would I say this? You're a nitpicky person, right? That can make a person feel like I'm not safe here. And one of the things that comes up most with clients is this phrase, feeling emotionally safe with their spouse. You don't want to be with, let me say this better. You want to be with someone who makes you feel safe. Isn't that the truth? So what I'm outlining here is some very important needs, and the Bible has something really powerful to say about it. Down in 1 John chapter 2, I just want to read this scripture. 1 John chapter 2, John says, by this we know love, because he laid down his life for us, and we also ought to lay down our lives for one another. How about that? But whoever has this world's goods and sees his brother or sister in need and shuts up his heart from him or her, how does the love of God abide in him? Here's a very powerful application. When you see your spouse have a need, to ignore that need for being seen, for feeling soothed, for feeling safe, if you ignore that need, it creates great disturbance inside of them. Now, none of us is perfect at this. You don't have to be perfect, but you do want to learn how to fix it when you blow it, right? We like to say, if you mess up, fess up. And don't just fess it up, fix it up. We call it going from a rupture to a repair. You don't have to be perfect, but you do want to be good at repairing. Like, I missed that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I didn't step in and help calm the situation, right? Please forgive me for not seeing you. By the way, there are a lot of us, I'm talking a language about what it means to be emotionally engaged. And this is something that we have to learn. And so if this feels foreign to you, because a lot of my clients are like, well, I help. I said, you want something to eat. I said, I pay the bills, or I will pay the bills, right? We think we're helping each other doing some of these big things, but it's the subtle things like making them feel seen, soothed, and safe that will take your relationship to the next level. It's literally a game changer, because here's what it does. It creates, and this is the final S that flows out of the first three, it creates a sense of security. A sense of security, an environment of security. If you can give one another an environment of security, it doesn't matter what happens with the team. It doesn't matter what happens when there's an injury. It doesn't matter what you might be facing when it comes to transition. All the challenges that come with being in that space. If you can give each other a space that feels secure, your marriage is going to absolutely flourish. It's going to be a championship marriage. I'm telling you. Right? Most people are not doing this. Very few people are doing this in their relationships. But if you do it, it's going to absolutely change the game. So let me talk a little bit finally about what does this environment of security do for us. One of the things that it does is it fosters a sense of resilience, that I can overcome anything. Where there's security, right? Problems don't overwhelm. They don't smash you. They don't they don't take you out of the game of life, as it were. And so you develop a sense of resilience and the ability to literally regulate your anxiety, your fears, your overwhelm, whatever it might be, because you have been in an environment where you have been seen, you've been soothed, you have felt safe, and you feel secure. If you can make each other feel this way, neither of you will have to go somewhere else to get that. Hey, I'm Rod Harrison. I'm glad you were here with me. I hope that this has been helpful to you. And if it has, would you just like, subscribe? Would you shout me out in the comments? I'm curious which one of these S's, the seen, the soothing, the safety, or the security, which one of these resonates most with you? Which one would you like to see more of in your relationship, in your marriage? All right, practice these with your kids, practice these with one another, and let me know how it's going. All right, I'll see you in the next video.